Hello and welcome to Railway Cottage Studio. This is Karen and welcome. Today I am continuing to work on my Railway Cottage Anthology. This is the beginning of the journal spread page for the prompt visitors to the cottage garden. So in my previous video I've done all this cutting out of this block of paper that I pulled out of an old book, and I've put all these other little critters etc. in place. So we're going to finish up on this today. Glue all the pages down and then think about what's going to be opposite it. So to start with, I took off my I had a lovely little, a smaller version of this guy. Where is he? A little blue wren that I had on, but it was just so shiny, I couldn't make it work for me. So I've cut out of a doily, I've cut this beautiful little blue bird. So we're going to cut him out and put him on instead, and I quite like the added different sort of texture that gives us. So given that he's very white, I'm going to pop him on and have a look and see whether I need to bring him down a bit with a bit of aging. I could have tea dyed the doily first, but you know I didn't. So happy Sunday. I've just come down. What is it? It's a time 1 o'clock, 20 past 1. I've had visitors today, so spent a little bit of time down here this morning doing a bit clean up, and then had some visitors, my beautiful little granddaughter. So that was a treat. And now I get a couple of hours down here. So I hope to finish this journal, this side of the journal spread, and have the other one clear in my mind about what we're going to do. This is just cardboard from a shapes packet, if you're wondering what I'm using. So he's going to go here like this. So I put a little block because I needed it kind of raised up because I wanted them on all different levels within. And you can see he's very, very white. So I'm going to just give him a bit of colour with my trusty, hold on a second, you know what I'm doing, my trusty pencils, 8 tenths pencils, this is what I want. And again, bark just seems to be the one that I use all of the time. No, it's willow, it's not bark. Don't believe what I say. And fresh water. So all I'm going to do to make him brought down a little bit colour-wise, I'm going to wet him first a little bit. And he's an old, he's a doily, so he's been around for a while. It's on cardboard, so I don't want to wet it too much. He's been around for a while and he's been washed, so there's no sizing or anything to worry about on this little guy. So I just want to wet it enough that when I put my watercolour pencil on, it moves around in the water. You'll see what I mean. It kind of just wicks to different parts of it. So I'll put him here. First of all, I'm just going to wet the tip of my pencil. I'll just bring in a little bit so you can see. I'm just going to give him a little bit of colour. You can see you really don't need very much because I just want to bring him down the smallest bit. Straight away you can see that looks tea-dyed. And then I'm going to stick my iron on it for a minute and just, because then I don't have to wait because I don't do waiting very well. If I have an idea, I want to do it. So it is Sunday already, heading into the second week back at school. I think if you're down in the southern states of Australia, you're probably getting ready to go back to school. We finish a week earlier and start a week earlier, I believe. So you can see that I'm just adding it, not adding it directly, so I've got a little bit more control, don't have big blobs. I just want him to be a little bit more. Alright. It always dries a bit lighter too, I've learnt, these ink tints pencils. A little bit down here. Now that there's enough water on there, see how it just picks it up and it moves along the grain of the fabric. So he's fine. So I will just do a bit of a stamp, a bit of ink around the edges of him when he's dry, just to get rid of that bit of white that you can see. Get rid of these. bring my iron up so that you can iron in. And while we're waiting for that, we're going to get started with a few tags. I want to put some tags on this page. You can just sit there to dry. So I've cut out some tags, and I've just cut these out of, actually what we'll do first, we'll finish this. Let's get this one finished so I can put it to the side. So my debate is, I use my stamp that I got at Vinnie's, which is this beautiful ivy stamp. It's always worth checking the stamps when you are at Vinnie's, because you never know. Where is it? You can see here, it's an ivy stamp. I've used this in $2. I've used this in through the garden gate as well. So I've just stamped some offcuts of this paper, and I'm going to just actually line around the outside. But before we do that, I need to make all the pages stick together. So I'm going to use some tape so I don't have things buckling from glue, and we're going to just stick the pages together. Having said that, no, I want to stick them together. You see how they're kind of lifting? I don't want lifting. There's no lifting. So I'm kind of going to go right down to the back. Just going to run that along and pull it off. I'm not sure if I kind of stagger where I go. The whole lot should be down, if you know what I mean. I made a mess at the start of that. How long is this bit? Let's just attach that to my hand. I'm going to go down to about there, I think. And I just don't want the sides to open. I want it to be like a solid side. And as I've put glue and stuff, obviously things have lifted. That's right, I'm just going to fix it all now. So I'm probably going to use a fair bit of tape here, I would think. I'm going to start now at the top. Oh, my scissors need a clean. It's one of those things that you have to stop other things to do, and I just need to make myself do it. So just making sure that I'm not stretching these pages, because obviously there's not much left of these pages at the front here. I want them to sit flat. So I'm just going to hold it up until I have it all off, and let it just fall on perfect. Let me get my bin over closer, sorry, so I can. Okay, so that one's stuck down. Might just start at the top, that might make it a bit easier. I'm going to have to stop and clean my scissors, I think, at some point. See how this one, because I've done that side, is hard to open. This is where I need to put, I'm going to just carve this. I don't need the whole lot, I just need a little bit. But I don't want to see it. It needs to be straight. So how's your Sunday? Have you done something lovely? I was going to go for a swim, but the day's kind of just got away from me, and we had a visitor, which was always a far more priority activity, grandbaby visit. So I'm kind of just going to stick what I can fit in, you know what I mean? So just don't want it to move once I've finished. You can see I've got masking tape here, but you won't see that when I am finished. Alright, so let's go to the next layer. I think this might work if we go down this way. I mean, I could actually just do the whole outside, but I think the inside bits would still lift then, if you know what I mean. Done. Oh. So this has been fun. I haven't done one like this before. If you're looking for ideas, there's lots of ideas kind of under tunnel books, seems to be a phrase, but done more with a whole book rather than with just a few pages like mine is. Where they kind of take one whole book and burrow it out. And sometimes it's just a standalone kind of piece rather than a journal, which I like as well, which I'm sure will be on my future to-do list. Right, go under there, yeah. So I've done all my jobs, I've done all the washing. I haven't done the groceries yet, that's the only thing. I make that a weekday job. Weekends out for groceries, no way. Okay, let's just see. Geez, this could take a bit, hey? That bit I've stuck off the edge a bit, but I'll just hang it over. It'll just stick over at the edge and that'll be fine. See that bit there is not stuck down. I might come back and do some of this in my own time a bit later, as in not on camera, because this could take a while to get everything stuck down. See how I've stuck that bit out a bit? Won't matter, because what I'll do is once I peel it off, I'll just flip that little bit underneath so it's kind of adhering to the side, and that'll be fine. Or back on itself, one or the other. Might just flip it in. Oops, not his foot. Yeah, I think I'll do a couple more bits and then I might have to come back and do this later because this is actually quite a big job. I could glue stick it, but I think it would make it go wobbly, you know, I don't want it to be wobbly. I could stitch it, I could put an awl in and make big holes all the way around, but that just is not the look I'm going for. That bit got stuck. See, that bit gave me a chunky bit of glue. What we might do then is put on the ivy, and then we can think about what the other page is going to be, the one that sits opposite this. Because I have no idea at this point, so we need to come up with something. Because this will be a 2-page spread. So let's get rid of him. So my ivy is going to go, and it's the same paper that the side one is a bit thicker, so it's going to go here like this. I'm actually just going to stick it as we go. So all of these images were either from old scrapbook paper. This little guy is just from the internet. I will attach those. They're just copyright-free images. I'll put them in my Pinterest, Railway Cottage Anthology Pinterest group if you want to go and have a look and grab them from there. Or else just search for vintage paper dolls, vintage paper animal puppets or dolls. There's heaps on there. And I warn you, it is a rabbit hole that you will go down and come back with a list of things you want to make, including pop-up books. But I've controlled myself today. Let's just check how these are going to fit. And again, I'm using the tape because I don't want, you know, it's only just book paper. It's not heavy. It's heavier than normal book paper, but I don't want it to lift, to be bubbly. Now let's get all my bits off. Here they are. These are just, and I just randomly printed these so that, and they're not perfectly straight. I'm not worried about that. So this is the longest one. Can go here, like that. It's going to go here, like that. That's it. You know when you put them all in place and you should have just left them? It goes there like that. And this bit fills this little gap down here. What do you think? Alright, I'm going to start with this guy. Actually, no, we're going to start with, does he go all the way across? Forgotten now, and it was just there a second ago. God, menopause brain. Much. Yeah, so he goes to the edge. Does this one go all the way up? No, he does not. You'll go on there. Alright, so I'm going to start this one. Yeah. How good is sticky tape? How good is double-sided tape? Particularly when you get a good one that you can actually lift up and you try to. Right, just straight onto the corner and across. Oops. Okay, and this should just fit up here. Now I'm going to have to lift his little hoof off here. Let me just see what is happening up here, whether he went to the edge. He went there. Does this one go all the way across? Yes, it does. Right. So this guy needs to go all the way up to the corner. Sorry if I'm loud, I'm right near the camera. And you can see, you can still see a bit of the masking tape, but not enough to be concerned. Once it's in my book as a signature, it won't matter. So now we need to start thinking about how I'm going to make it work as a signature, because it's just a single page. But there are ways and means of everything. Come on. Because this is on masking tape, it's not sticking very, very well. Come on, you. There we go. Need to pull it over a bit. Hang on. Alright, getting there. Slowly but surely. Let's rub him on really well. Except I pulled the whole thing off. I don't want to do that. There it is there. I think I need new glasses for some obvious things. Yeah, that's just gone a bit crooked there, but see how here he's gone a bit crooked. I wonder if it will let me readjust him a little bit. Yes, it will, just like that. Okay, so now down here I'm going to have to lift off your little foot squirrel. Now I know I glued you on very, very carefully, so I'm hoping I don't destroy it, but I want his foot on the outside, and that's got tape on it. That's right, I did tape, which is repositionable. Go me. A little bit more tape. Oh my goodness. I cut up a lot of things that were glued yesterday, and so my scissors are not happy. These are my paper scissors, don't worry, they're not my fabric scissors. I'm not completely nuts. So he goes here. This guy, let's start him over in the corner and sort out the other side in a minute. Okay, that's good. So this is really different for me. It's good. I'm excited to be doing something different. Okay, that bit comes off. This bit comes off. That's not going to work, is it? Come here. And you can see where I need to glue more of my background in. Okay, so that's pretty much that. The only thing I've got left to do, I'm just going to go and steam my little bird dry so that we can use him straight away. Oops. I'm just using my steam and my iron. I am just putting a piece of cotton over the top of it, and I'm just going to iron and dry. The cardboard's not wet, it's just the bird on the top. He was wet. Probably dry enough to use, I think. It's got a bit of drying to do. So you can see where I need to do some better cutting, which is just here. I want the fabric to be the top, not cardboard. So I'm just going to trim around where I can see a bit of shiny, yucky cardboard. Yeah. Just going to go right around this little bendy bit here. Alright, so he's going to live. Oh, look at that bit. That's not going to stay, sorry. So he's going to live like that in there, I think. How does he look? Do I need to ink him around his edges? I think I do. Just a little teeny bit. I'm going to use a light one, the tea dye. Let me bring over my scrapbook. I'm going to try and just do his edges. It just gives them a bit more definition, particularly when it's got such a busy background as I have. I think I need some new tips for these. So I'll go around like this where I can, and where I can't, I'm just going to do a little blobby blob in there. Right, that's better. And he'll dry a little, he's not completely dry, he'll dry a little bit lighter than that. So he's going to go, do I need to stand him up anymore? I think I'm quite happy with him there. My son's just out the door. Hey Don, what's up?
There's been another crash at that same intersection.
Oh, right next to us.
Yeah, the same one there's always a crash.
Is there police and stuff there yet?
Yeah, there's fire brigade and like everything.
Oh,
like
oh no.
Four fire brigade cars.
Far out. Well, stay away from it, honey. We have an intersection just one block down from our house where everywhere else in our suburb the stop signs are on the roads that run north to south, and then randomly this one intersection has a stop sign on the road that runs east to west. And honestly, well, I've taught my kids to approach it as if it's a red light, because the amount of times that people just do not stop and they go, we've had so many crashes there, and my son just came to tell me there was another one. Quite often we've been the first people on the scene. This is not coming off because I made it too big. Let me see if I can get it from the side. Oh look, I'm just taking off the top layer. How about I put it on the back of the bird? That would make more sense. Let's just see where I want it. I want him just above his left wing. Let's do that. Now shapes. I want it just there. There we go, that's better. I might work the other way. That's better. Okay. Alrighty, so that's pretty much. I've just got my little dragonfly, who I'm probably just going to put on the top there. Isn't he cute? I just need a skinny bit of tape. I bought a heap of these drawers. Look, these sewing drawers, and this one I'm using for all my tapes and things. Isn't that, how great is that? There's an old fella who lived locally who was selling a whole heap of them. He was obviously someone who did them up, and he has moved on to something else, because I've looked at them, and they're so expensive. I have a really nice set that Mum gave me as a present, a set of 3, you know, like on the side. But you see these little ones, and they're normally, I don't know, you know, $40 to $50 per individual drawer Australian, which is a lot of money. That's a lot of money here. Most people, you know, don't earn that an hour, so that's a lot of money. But he was selling these for, I think they were $15 each, and I bought a whole heap, so I got a really good deal from him. So now I have all of my tapes right here behind me, and I actually have 3 that have nothing in them yet. So look, I've got room to buy more things. Let's get rid of my little duck. I don't want him. Quick tidy up. So this is pretty much this one finished. So what do you think? You know, it's new for me, so I'm kind of seeing how I feel about it. I will come back and do all of this. See how this is all lifted so that it's a solid thing. I mean, the other thing I could do is like frame it by putting some sort of washi tape, but you know what washi tape's like, it doesn't stay on very well. Washi tape around it, but I think I'll just go in and go hard with the sticky tape. So now let's have a think about the other page. So these pages are just from a book. What I could do is the back one attached. It's not attached. So this back one I could open out. No, I don't think that's going to work. Let me get the front of my journal and we'll have a look. I've got the front and the book it's going to go in. And we'll do some problem solving. So here is the front of my journal. This is Railway Cottage Railway Cottage. There's his little gate. Here is his, walking through his, up through the garden path. And then when we turn the front cover, which will be on here, and I'm not going to attach it to right at the end because it's so big and it's so unwieldy. So we're going to turn the front cover, and our first page is going to be here. So what I could do is I could make something attached. This will be, God knows how I'm going to attach this. I might have to sew a strip on here that I can use. Let me think about it. I could actually just put a bit of card down here, or a bit of canvas. Just think of what I have, and then add my other page on the other side, and then that would give me the signature. Because I haven't got any plans for this page, even though I do love green. Or do I work on the fact that this is the first page, and I create something to sit opposite it over here. That would be easy. I could just glue it straight on. Let's have a think about that for a minute. I think they go really well together. Look, it's different. There's not as much fabric. There's hardly any fabric on this, so I tried to limit myself. But obviously I will probably, knowing me, add some more things to it. So let's find what we're going to work with. I really want to do some tags on this front bit. I've gathered some more of my trusty shapes packets. And let me just grab the, let me just think where oh, they're right in front of me. These are the rest of the pages out of that book. So let's have a look. This is them. It's a massive book. So I'm just thinking that it's a glue bound book with that tape. What I could do, I have this really heavyweight linen. Let's just see how long it is. Is it long enough? Yes, it is. I could, let me get my scissors. I could create, yes, and I will. I could and I will. I'm going to create a strip that's going to be the strip that's going to join this cover, this page, sorry, and the page that's going to be opposite it. And the page that's going to be opposite it should be glued to the front cover, and I think that will still work. So I think so. So that's the plan. So what are we going to make the page opposite it out of? Are we still going to use these pages? We're looking at Visitors to, let's just pull some out. So let's find a signature. These are good. They're not quite a good quality paper. They're quite thick. It's some sort of source book. It's very random. It's got all this stuff about lots of random things. And I have this really nice bit of green at the back. So let's start with this. Let's start with this on this side. So let's presume that this is going to be glued to the inside. And then this is going to be one signature. And allow that to, I think that will work. I think that will work. So let's think about our vision for this page. I do feel like I don't have any fabric on that page. I feel like I could put some in the background, and I think that would be a really nice balance. Let me get a couple of vintage floral pieces, because we know I have no floral paper, apparently. I had a good look. There's a couple of bits that come to mind straight away. Pieces I've been waiting to use. I've got some of Rachel's as well. And sorry, I'm still here. I'm just picking some fabrics. All right, I'm going to limit what I pick. I've only chosen like 5. So let's have a look. I've got this beautiful vintage Sanderson. Now, initially, these colours aren't necessarily me, but it goes really well, doesn't it? Look how well that goes. Look how beautiful that looks opposite that. And I loved this because it had a little Archie thing. Where he is? Look. A little random guy. So let's have a look. Look how gorgeous this is. So this looks very cottage garden-y. It looks almost like some sort of wisteria-like plant hanging down. And it's got that beautiful scene in the middle. And we've got La Mancha it's called. So this is specimen 1. And let's just fold him and look at him next to it so we can make a choice. This is going to be opposite. So I think I will just sew this onto the page, specimen 1. Specimen 2 is probably far more me because of the colours. Although there is a lot less in the way of flowers on it. Specimen 2. Oh, I'm leaning towards specimen 1. What are you thinking? Okay, specimen 3 is quite similar to specimen 2, to be honest. It's just a bit more aged looking. That's quite nice too. That kind of gives it a different kind of feel again. And then, I have 3 more. This is just a Robert Kaufman fabric that was given to me recently as a gift. Isn't that gorgeous? But it doesn't say Country Cottage Garden to me. It says some like Bahamas or something. I have a couple of pieces of Rachel's, but I think the graphics on that are more collagey, so I'm going to put them aside. And then I have this. Now I used the deer out of this in my slow stitched. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? I only have one deer. Oh no, there's a deer there. I have this. Is this going to work? Oh, I'm hurting. It's got this really evil squirrel. Look, doesn't he look evil? I think that's just because the hole, it's a hole there. Obviously it was attached to something in the hole, and then it's got this very folk arty kind of border. So I would probably use like a centerpiece, almost that whole piece, but then you'd lose him, wouldn't you? You kind of have to go. Let's just fold it as if I was using it. Having said that, you could probably save. Let's just see how big that is there. See, the page ends here. I think it's got to be the Sanderson. Let's just go with the Sanderson. It just says Country Cottage Garden, doesn't it? Let's do that. And I'm actually just going to go and sew it. Let's just choose which bit we want first. I'm just going to make myself a bit of room because I have, again, spread out a few things away. My tag making things can go over here. Now we put the back down. Right, I can go up there, getting ready to be all stuck down. Let's find a piece that we want. I think you kind of want a bit of that and that. A4. Let me see what I've got A4 that we can look through and see what we get. Use this. I have a plan. Stand. Let's see. Let me just get a Nico. This is just a foldery thing. So let's choose a piece that fits within this little frame. And I don't mind cutting it to bit because I will use every piece of it, like I'm not worried. I want to get kind of both of the, sorry it's a bit shiny. I want to get, let's see if I can lift you up so you can see better. If I go over here, the rose is right in the middle. I don't want the rose right in the middle. That's good. Actually, that's probably good too. I think I like that. I think I do like just that. So let me just draw around that with my trusty erasable pen. So there. Need to go there. There is this next piece of our work. So we're going to work onto a fabric base for this one. Let me get my scissors. Isn't it good to cut up the good stuff? What's the point of having it if you don't use it? So, do I want a flappy bit? If I do, I can stitch it on. I was just going to cut a little bit outside because my measuring was a bit loose. Okay, so let's get rid of this big piece. Put the others away. Well, when I say put them away, I've started a put away tray that I'm not allowed to go upstairs until it's all put away. So these are going on my put away tray over here. Let's have a look what we're left with. Right. Look at that, beautiful. So I think I'm just going to go and stitch that on. And stitch on at the same time. Yeah, on this because it's closed. Oh. So this is just a really tightly woven linen, which is really good for bookbinding. So you can see I've cut it really well. Cut it really well. So at the same time that I'm stitching that on, I might just put a little bit of glue in the middle to keep it in one place. I won't be sewing through the glue, but it'll just, like when you're doing laminating, just keep it in place while you're doing other things. Like that. Then I'm going to sew. I think I want you at the front as well. Do I want you at the front? I don't want you at the back. I might want you at the back. I've just sewn that. I might actually just get rid of a few of those pages. Because this one's going to be basically, I think it's going to be, let me just see how that's going to work for me. Sorry, I'm just looking at that. This is going to be glued to the inside cover. Anyway, that's my plan. Let me just put this up. Check that I'm not cutting fabric. So I've kept myself 2 pieces of that paper. Again, this is, oh look, there's a train. This was what was just pulled out of that book. So I'm just using what I have. So, and then I'm going to glue, at the same time that I stitch that on, I'm going to stitch this across the back, a bit further to the side, out there, at the same time. So I'm just going to go to my machine and do that, so don't go away. I actually probably want to change my cotton to black, I think, so let me just check what's on there. Ooh. Getting old, I make that noise now when I change direction. Actually, you know what? Cream will be fine. I'm going to stitch around the 4 sides. Oops. me show you what I've done. First of all, I missed a heap of the paper here because I went too low. So I've just stitched that on. You can see I've missed a bit there, but that's all right because it will all be covered. Yeah, let's trim off the excess. And then over here, I'm just going to leave that for now because it's going to fray and I quite like that. So let's have a look. We're probably going to need to work with the other piece next to us so that we can make sure that we're working together. So this is how it's going to look. And I really like that. I think they balance really well, the colours. So we're going to start by making some tags to put over here. I don't know how I'm going to put the tags on yet, but we are going to put them on. So we're going to start by making some tags. I'm just going to pop my whole piece forward a little bit, and we're going to get all the bits and pieces I have out for tag making. So I've gone through my stamps, my postage stamps, and then I've gone through my stampy stamps, and we've come up with some little bits of paper, some things, and I'm going to make some tags like this basically. These are out of an old exercise book that was my dad's, but I don't have any of those left, and I am using basically bits of snack boxes, you know, that the boys use a gazillion of every week. If I can find them. Hang on a second. I moved it all a minute ago to give myself some room. So I've got some old pages here. I've got some old papers. Got some old book covers, and here they are. So I've just used the shape of these ones that I've done earlier, and I'm basically going to do the same sort of design. I'm going to cover both sides. We're going to put some fabric and a couple of stamps, and we're going to, look how cute they are, and we're going to just maybe pop a button on and make them ready to go. So a bit less is more sort of tag making. And again, I will find them. It will happen. Oh, and look at this little guy that I made. So he's a little rabbit, so he's going to be a garden visitors. So I'm going to do some garden visitor tags, I think. So I'm going to pop him up here. We're going to start with our things. I'm just going to use a hole cutter, hole punch a hole. And again, obviously you do whatever size you want for these. And cereal boxes are great because they're just the right size. So first things first, let's cover them and get rid of all the ugliness that there is on them. I think I might just pretty much glue some down to that side. And that's just an old book that I used to glue and make a mess on. So we'll cover the shiny side with paper of some description. And tag making should just be fun. You shouldn't overthink this. You know, there's no right or wrong way. So that one's going to be that paper. Let's fold him up. Oops, a bit of stain on there. I quite like that. On the side. Oh, hang on, I'm going to move him over. I did a bad job of that. That's cut through so much glue yesterday that these scissors are very unhappy. So I'm thinking about what I want this page to look like. I haven't really got a clear vision yet, so I'm going to start by making some elements that I know I want to put on it, and then work backwards from that. I'm going to use this beautiful old paper. This is actually out of my dad's old calf club book that he used to be a member of the calf club out at GM Stoke Primary School when he was a boy. You got a calf and you raised it, and it's funny, when my son started school out here at the Christian college out there did a similar program. They called it Hoof to Hook, except my middle son Zach, who is the softest human on earth, didn't realise that the hook meant that you raised this, you got given this calf in whatever year level, and you were responsible for it. And then you went to the Ekka and showed it, and you got a mark on how it showed at the Ekka on the hoof, and then you got a mark how it was judged by a butcher on the hook. And of course he was absolutely devastated when he found out that this was the plan and pulled out of the program. You know, pretty well into it too, because he just really didn't think about, you know. And of course there's a lot of country kids for whom that was completely normal, but poor old Zachy just was mortified. So he said he can't be good friends with his cow if he's going to, you know, take it to be slaughtered. So fair enough, mate. So needless to say, he didn't get credits for that particular agricultural course. Right, so we covered the back, super easy. We might just use my hole punch again. I could wait till I do them all, but then you kind of lose where they are. Do it this way, and it's just easy to find it when you put the other paper on. Actually, I didn't put the thing through there. You've got to put that thing through, otherwise it gets stuck. That's it. And here we go. So these are really simple. You can just use scraps. So again, I'm going to choose some papers for this side. And I'm going to cover them in an opposite, whatever they don't have on the other side. We could use something similar. This one's going to have some. I'm not really kind of working hard about a theme for this. I just want to use up some of my papers. I am just going to pull out my little box of bits and pieces, so I can use some of them. So look at that, how easy is that? You don't need expensive things, you just need to be ridiculous and keep everything you own. Right, now all my drawers are open. Let me just pull out a couple of little boxes. Now I've got a couple of little boxes of offcuts. I'll just show you, they're just bits of paper. So I'm just going to have a bit of a rifle and find some things that I'd like to use. And really just to cover the background at this stage is what I'm looking for. These are a whole heap of scrapbooking. Remember Seven Gypsies? Remember them? I've still got some of their stuff. Don't mind that red paper. Oh, that's a nice one. Amy Butler, she went on to make quilting papers. Quilting fabrics. No, nothing in there for me. Let me put them back. And then this one tends to have more of the goodies. A little flip book. Oh, this is one of the papers Rachel gave me. Isn't that gorgeous? Right, these are just a lot of vintage actual wrapping papers and things. No florals though. What the heck? I don't mind that. That's in Australia something or other. I like these. These are little coat hanger books. I picked them up at Mrs. Warrener Vinnie's for a couple of cents. Christmas. Women really are remarkable, aren't they? Have a look at all of these patterns and things just. Look at this old pattern. Oh, that matches well, doesn't it? Let's grab him out. That's some stamps from the Philippines. I don't know why they're in there. I really like using papers from patterns. I really like the tissue paper out of patterns. And a lot of these are actual. Alright, nothing there for me either. Alright, let's get. I've got a few things. That's a golden casket, maybe a one. Perhaps not. So this one has got green on one side and that one, that's good. This one has, I quite like the yellow, I might put that on there. This is one of the papers that I printed myself. So let's just cover him with that. Grab an edge so you don't have to waste anything. So while I'm doing these, I'm cogitating about how I want this page to look. And so I've got two done, except I managed to make that a bit too shallow. Two done. Let's continue with the hole punching. My hand is still not very strong. Done. 1, 2. One more to go. What am I going to put on the back of you? Like that. A bit of Amy Butler, which is quite nice. It's floralish. It's kind of fleur-de-lis. How about that? That's not really a colour I like, but I quite like. Is it a fabric? It is. It's like a truly sort of something. I don't know. I'll keep that for a minute. And then I have pattern. Keep this carefully. It is an important part of your pattern. Let's just use that Australian Home Journal. I might want to see if I can get that on my tag. Might even tear it so that we do. I want Australian Home Journal right up that side, like that. And then when I cut it, it's good. I like the green in this, it's a bit different. And there is a kind of dark green in the Sanderson. Goes with that. And I might just tear that. See that tears beautifully. Pop him back in there. Just keep those bits near me. Keep them close. Got a few little offcuts of paper. All the little bits you end up with when you're doing journaling. It's all good. So now we're going to add, I'll just turn my page because I've got a fair bit of glue on that one. Just add some stamps and some little bits of fabric. So let's decide. This is going to be a green side. That side. Actually, I need a yellow side. But let's do you yellow. I really want this as the one side. So they're going to be my 3 sides that we're going to see. Just do another hole punch. Okay, done. So let's grab some stamps. Visitors to the garden. So I went through and found some stamps. Unfortunately, Australian stamps, modern Australian stamps, don't have any particularly nice visitors to the gardens that I wanted. They're all too big and bright. But I do have some beautiful old stamps. So let's just have a little fiddle here. Let's bring in a little bit. Sorry, while I have a drink. You see? So what I'm trying to do is just do little clusters on here. And again, the stamps might look white. And look at this beautiful one from Cuba. It's got an owl. You know I'm going to use that one. And I kind of like these ones. See how that's like a bit more aged? I have so many stamps. I might actually do some little packs to give away because I know that I have been a collector for a long, long time of everything. Since we came home from the UK. In the UK I couldn't really collect much because I was working 7 days a week. But it just wasn't the lifestyle for it. So since I've been home, and we have big houses in Australia with lots of room, not that I have a massive McMansion or anything, but we have a 2-story Queenslander with storage, shall we say, underneath. So, you know, there's no limit, sadly, to control me. And so here I go, just from the time we got home, you know, what's Zach now? He's 22, so he was 8 weeks old when I brought him home. So I've been home for 21 years, and I started collecting the day I stepped off the plane, to be honest. So I'm going to put a little stamp. Let's have a play. So these are beautiful Australian flowers. I know they're native flowers, but they're beautiful native flowers. So I'm going to just do a couple of little clusters. Then I'm going to find some fabrics. I like the pink on that one. I might do birds together. And then where's my butterflies? I have a fair few butterflies. Let's just see. I wasn't sure what colour I wanted. And then I have these as well, which are, oh no, look what I did. You wouldn't think that would rip like that, would you? But it's cellophane, actually. It's not. Let me try and get that out without destroying it any further. And I have these, which are actually quite pretty. They're a bit goldy, shiny. that one actually looks like, is it going to come off? I think I have to take the whole thing. I just don't want it to look tropical, and being Singaporean, chances are that's good. Butterfly. So do I require, I don't want a blue one, I think that one. Maybe the green, to pick up the green in the background. That looks good. Really simple, I think. Simple is the way to go. You know, we'll make decisions once they're actually in place, and once I'm gluing them down. So I'm happy with that. I think I need a third bird. It's a spotted catbird. See, his colours are really good on that page. Alright, so let's put all these back. I did have these, check out these big suckers. If you're a stamp collector when you're a child, you will know this Ajman. And I mean, the country basically made a whole living. You know, it was a big industry, was selling these big stamps overseas. One of those pretty ones down there. That's just a real mixture. So I'm going to pop these back in here. Then we're going to go find some more little bits. I'm going to find some bits of fabric that I'd like to use. Hang on. Sorry, excuse me reaching across, but this is where all my treasures are. Let's start with these bits of paper first. So look at this beautiful brown. I'm just going to sort them. I ended up not using my big daily yet. Maybe it will come on this side. I don't know. Spent a lot of time and effort on him, and then I didn't want him. There's too much purple going on in the background. All right, so now I have. I like that because that brings in the other side. So I'm just doing a quick sort to see what I have. So I want to use Rachel's beautiful papers if I can. Okay. So we're going to not overthink it. We're going to create flowers gone. All right, I'm going to put our birds on there just like that. This one. Ooh, do I go green, green on green? I might want a bit of fabric on you, buddy. Let me just see. I want something green and floral. Hang on, I've got a whole heap of stuff right next to me. Green and floral. I have. So I'm just looking for things that are cut up. Hold on. This little basket, which I sorted out, I'm so proud of myself. It's got things that are already cut out. Let me zoom you out a bit so I don't blind you. Ready to go. So you can see in my little basket, my world of baskets, these are little bits of off-cut things that have survived the chop from other things but need to be used. So we're going to start by digging through here. I might add that little guy for starters. Actually, that's a really good colour for on here as well. We're going a bit mixed media now. Actually, that's probably better colours, isn't it? I'm just going to have a dig through and find what I want. Look at that little guy. He needs to have a home. So these are just all the little bits that have been harvested and have yet to find a place, but are kind of little things on their own. There you go. What's under here? Sorry, I'm just checking what I got. I got this blue. I don't think that's the right blue for this one. God, who thought I'd ever do apricot? But it's working for me, so I'm going to keep going. What's under here? Looks like strawberries. Alright, so next we have, these are little images. So again, some of these might be very, very useful for us, particularly if they're little animals. I think I have one of animals. Okay, boat. He's in the wrong one. Don't have an elephant. So just looking for little animals that we might see. Not a horse. He's quite cute. Might put him in. What do you think he is? A pheasant? Peacock? Don't think I've got. Oh, I like the chickens. So just pulling out some little bits to use. I may not use them all, but I quite like those. They're from a bark cloth that I have. I love bark cloth. That one's good. Sometimes I just end up pulling out everything, but I haven't found actual animals is what I'm looking for. Where are you? It's a little dog. I don't want a dog. I want a boat. You see I keep everything. Oh, there's a little pheasant. He's very cute. It's a church. So these are just little actual images that are standalone. These are bits of, little tiny bits left of things that I use all the time to use first. Because, you know, use this bit first. I'm going to pull this little bit of edging out. And then these are just little bits of fabric. So I'm hoping that there's something green. Actually, I've just remembered this gorgeous thing. So I'm going to use that. A bit more of that there. I don't think that's the right green, no. So these are just offcuts of fabrics, but they're ones that are still good enough, big enough to use. That is actually a hexagon. I don't know why he's in there. You can see I did a really good job of sorting. Some vintage fabrics. So these are kind of the bits that are too small to fold up and put away. Alright, we're going to start with what we have. Okay, and then last but look at this little basket. How cute is that? These are just some little offcuts of laces and things. So that's cute. Let's just grab one of them and leave it at that for now. That's heaps. So these all live here on the edge of my desk. I just pile them on top of each other, those baskets. So let's make some. Glue stick back. Where are you? And I'm going to duck off to the machine every now and then. I'm sorry, but I really do like these sewn down. So I think I'm going to pretty much leave that as it is. Let's glue you on. Owl. We have a little botanic gardens here in Bundaberg, which is really lovely, and there's a pair of mopoke owls that live there, and if you ever visit, they're always in the same tree. Always. If you go in there, let me know and I'll tell you where they live. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to put them where I like them. Now, just got to offset them a little bit. Okay, that's good. Not a lot of colour on there, but that's all right. That happens. I do love a good border. No, I'm just going to leave that like that for a minute. Let's have a look at you. I kind of put lots of things out for him, didn't I? I like that one as it is with the funny torn bit. And then the green behind as well. Let me just see what I want. I found on here. No, not that one. Do you know, see how this flower's really busy? And do you know what? Purple always throws me. When there's purple in things, I struggle. Because I don't what, and then I realise it's because I don't like the purple. I don't want to cover my Australian home. Aha, this is what I was after. I'm just going to keep it that simple. To be honest, let's stop overthinking and just stick it on. Go over just a bit, so this is offset. And again, I'm going to stitch through the whole thing so it will be held in place. And yes, I will change my sewing machine needle before I sew anything on fabric. Just going to put a tiny dot there for you and stitch you on. Okay, that's my second one. We're already up to an hour. Alright, I'm going to make this last one and then I'm going to leave you there. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to use the vintage ones on here, and yes. He's very cute. So he's going to go on here. And I think we're going to do our stamps at the bottom. Maybe I'll just use him somewhere else. Let's start with that. Did I only save? Oh no, I got that blue one. I like the contrast to these colours. Did I have any paper I wanted to use behind that particular one? Use the brown, got some green fabric. No. Where's my little, where'd it go, where'd it go? The little ones of these, the other one that was cut out better. Let's try this guy, he might actually work. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there because this is a really long video. Thanks so much for popping in. I hope that you've enjoyed it. My camera's got hot anyway, so I will see you again soon.